Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here. Last week I spoke about a new platform called Snype.com. I'm not going to link that video. However, I'm not going to delete it either. But none of that applies anymore. I spoke with Probstein on the phone this morning. I'm recording this at 11 a.m. the day that it goes live. So 11 a.m. Eastern time, 2 hours before this video goes live. All this information is true to the full extent that I can be sure of it. Right from Rick himself. So Snype will not be a thing ever again. Snype was so fundamentally broken that it will not return. There's an E4 thread that I will link in the description below. There are very troubling things that were discovered from that. And I didn't really, it was a quick conversation. I'm assuming he had a lot of phone calls to make today, but I did not really hold back in my phone call with Rick. I asked him about what I'll talk about in this video today. And I'll be very careful, as if you've watched my videos before, I will try to be very careful on what is objective fact, what is speculating, and what, then I'll talk at the end, like what are the potential implications, what am I going to do with that. I will link above the PokeFlips episode from last week where Nick and I talked for about an hour about Snype and the whole debacle, all of it. But anyways, I had a call with Rick. Per him, as of this morning, not that it couldn't change, I guess, but I would be shocked if it were to change. Snype is no more. He said that by 4 p.m. today, 4 p.m. Eastern, I presume, he's in New Jersey, I'm in New York, there will be an announcement of some kind to that effect. Snype is not coming back ever. And he said he wasn't sure if he was going to do it through his Instagram and or someone like, Jeff Wilson, the big... what's his channel called? Whatever his channel's called. He might do it through some big influencer, basically, or he might do it right on his thing. But Snype.com will be, no more. That's not coming back. So I said, I have $30,000 to $50,000 worth of stuff with him. What's going to happen with that? It's one of two things. First thing he said, it's going to be sold on eBay, which that's an interesting conversation. Maybe we'll talk about it more at the end of the video. But he might just go back to eBay. After the E4 thread, after the conversation we had on PokeFlips last week, will eBay have him back? If and when eBay does have him back, what are the implications of that? It doesn't feel good. This is my least excited I've ever been to make a video. And I'll say one thing that probably no one else will say. If you watched my video last week and you made an account on Snype, I apologize for that. I had no way of knowing. Some people will say, oh, it's obvious. How could this guy build a website? He's got a lot of money. I made a seemingly false assumption, very false assumption, that he would have paid the right people, competent people. I make all these videos about consulting professionals, but how do you know if you're consulting competent ones? This video is so not fun. But anyways, I apologize, because one other thing that was confirmed, this is objective statement of fact, data was breached. Data was leaked. And again, we talked about it in PokeFlips. What are the timetables depending on the state that you're in? Will it be disclosed? As far as I understand, not a lawyer, disclaimer, it is illegal to not disclose customer information being breached to those said customers. So stay tuned to that. Maybe those things are disclosed, maybe they're not. One thing that he did say, and again, I'm not a tech guy whatsoever, so it's like, I can't verify this. I've not vetted this information. It's not necessarily speculation, but it's it was framed as a statement of fact by somebody who, like, I don't know if he's qualified to say, but Rick said payment information was not leaked. He said anything you registered to the site with, name, date of birth, addresses, things like that, those were all compromised. And I don't think I've ever made a standalone video on this, but maybe I should. It's kind of a weird topic that isn't that comfortable to talk about. But like, I have a business name. I operate as Catch 'em All Collectibles. I have a P.O. box that it's tied to. I do my best to anonymize, and I went back and I looked at what information before Snype was entirely taken down. I believe the only information I gave them was I called myself first name Catch 'em All, second name Collectibles Incorporated, because I do business as a business and I don't really give my personal name anywhere. Beckett, PSA, CGC. 11 years ago when I started in the hobby, I was doing it as a collector. I was doing it as me. So there's probably some blend of like my name being out there, my business name being out there. But that's a big shout towards like, if you are doing this, have a PO box, do things the best you can to safeguard your information, because as sad as it is, like you should be able to rely on people. You should be able to rely on companies. But I was having this conversation at New Jersey Collecticon this weekend. I was one of 147 million people that had like most of my information breached. Equifax or Experian or whoever that was, the data breached back like 15, 20 years ago. My information has just been locked down. I think it was 2017, not 15, 20 years ago. I think it was like 8 years ago. Anyways, I've had my credit frozen. I've had all that stuff frozen because it's like, it's the whole credit system, the whole banking system, the whole like way that we treat all that information in the United States, how valuable it can be. I just have my stuff on permalock because like, yeah, that's the sad state of reality that we're in. No one cares enough to be competent in handling that data. Add Snype to the list of that, because Rick did confirm. Yeah, Rick confirmed that information went out. This was in a phone call. This was like, I didn't record the phone call, but yeah, opinions, thoughts, whatever needs to be said. But that video aged like milk. I am not proud of that video. I did not think, but when I made that video, I did not remotely think that there was any chance that it would end like this. Or obviously, I would not have made that video. I would not have talked about it. I would not have linked a website that was going to so miserably handle everything. But getting to the next things, a lot of ranting and rambling this whole video is going to be. I asked Rick about, I said, are you aware of the website called Elite Forum, basically? The forum post that I linked in the description below. It's some kind of a, again, you kind of need to like see that article, pause, go through that a little bit. But the implication was there are a lot of accounts registered under names and email addresses and physical addresses that seem to tie to people involved with and or near adjacent to Rick himself and other people in the hobby that have what I'll say questionable past. I won't go any further than that. Just literally go check out. It's frustrating too. Like, I'm not primary information. We have supercomputers in our pocket, and people just listen to influencers. People listen to YouTubers. People, and they don't go look at the primary information themselves. Please go look at the information. 99% of people won't do that, but it's there. Anyways, core claims Snype supposedly exposed an internal database endpoint to the open web with no authentication. According to the post, this allowed access to full bidder and consignor information for any auction, names, emails, phone numbers, addresses, birthdays, payment method data, Stripe objects. I don't know what Stripe objects is. So this is what Rick said on the phone. Rick said that like Stripe is a secure platform. He said that payment information that you had on the website was handled through Stripe. I use Google Pay personally. I'm a big fan of, like, I hate debit cards because debit cards tie to your money. I love credit cards because they tie to someone else's money. If and when someone fraudulently uses a credit card, and especially if and when, give yourself as many layers as possible. Use a credit card through PayPal. Use a credit card through like Stripe. Use a credit card through another platform, not directly on the platform, because in the event that you give some random website directly, you enter your digits into it. It's just, if they go down, you go down directly there. But if you give your information to PayPal, who then PayPal, I believe it's encrypted when it travels through there. Again, I know just enough to be dangerous. I don't know how that works, but I think if you give your information to PayPal and you pay on some random website, Snype.com, I don't believe Snype sees your actual 16-digit credit card. I believe they see something encrypted. So if Snype goes down, PayPal locks it down. I use Google Pay. So like, yeah, again, I don't know for sure, but it sounds like payment information was not compromised. If you were paying with ACH through your bank account, it shouldn't be, but like, do your own due diligence, talk with somebody who knows what they're talking about on that. And keep a close eye, as you always should be. Keep a close eye to your credit card statements. Keep a close eye to your bank account statements or any thing that's not you. But another layer to this, yeah, as I said, and I brought this up. So I asked him about the data breach, and he said, yes, data was breached, but not payment info. So anything non-payment, yes, it's all out there. It's all out there. People have it. It was available for several hours, as far as I understand. Because, yeah, going to the E4 thread, there was a time where like a certain screen was said, hey, I think if you go to Snype.com right now, there's a certain, yeah, there's still this screen. Let me share this screen really quickly. But this screen is still here. This is just not true because it says, thank you for your patience. We'll be back shortly. I have it on good authority from the owner himself that they will not be back shortly. But yeah, again, not a tech guy. While this was live, you could like go in. You could do like hacker stuff. You could go in and you could see everything while this splash page was up, whatever they call it, using someone else's terminology. So this was up for several hours and people were still actively accessing data. People were scraping out all the bids, all of this, all of that. And again, I don't know how that works, but as of right now, I think they finally closed it. Like hours later or a day later, they closed it. So your data is not still actively leaking out, but it was for too long of a time. And next point that I wanted to make, I did bring up this. I did not stop with like, hey, data breach, that's concerning. I said, hey, shill bidding accusations. I said account relation, proximity, all that stuff. I brought it up. I didn't say like, I didn't come at like, you were shilling, I would have been hung up on. If I went like, you were this, that, I just asked him. I said on that E4 thread that you're probably aware of, there were very serious accusations of shill bidding. There were very serious accusations of many accounts existing that were all bidding in concerning ways, is basically what I said. And he didn't hang up on me. He addressed it. And I am not satisfied with the answer. I don't really believe the answer, but an answer was given, and I'm gonna forward it to you. It was something along the lines of like, yeah, Snype was more like, Snype did not work as we intended it to, as we thought it would work. No auction was, well, auctions were ending. So auctions were ending. I was getting emails. My credit card was getting charged. That one night, that Monday night, while the site was down, auctions were ending in the back end. I was winning. I have, to be fair, I have been refunded for every single one. I pulled that up, and I was charged for like $20,000 plus worth of wins that weren't real because the website was down, but somehow they didn't have the ability to stop them going through. But what he said, and I guess I'm just going to say what he said, and I'm not really going to say legal reasons, all that stuff. Judge for yourself, await future developments on his, await a potential investigation maybe years down the line. I think things like that can take a real long time. And I did do some posts in the E4 thread, so if you care to have a little bit more conversation on this topic from me myself, like go read the E4 thread. 111 posts, I think 5 or 6 of them are me. But he basically said like, well, no auctions ever actually really ended, and because it was so broken, because we were actively troubleshooting things as it was going on, there were a lot of test accounts that we had that we were experimenting with, essentially. That's what was said. Again, I've never deleted the video, and I never intend to. I never want to put myself in that situation. I'm not a tech guy. If I were a tech guy, given the answer that I was given, I would go and I would look at timestamps. I would go and I would look at, for some short period of time, auctions were live, and the site, we didn't know it to be broken. So the claim that was made to me in the phone call would be able to be, in my opinion, directly pushed back on if you were able to validate that timestamps those accounts were bidding before issues were happening. I do not have the ability myself. I don't know how to do that. So I genuinely, I don't know that anything mischievous was going on, but I have a high suspicion that mischievous things were going on. I just have no way to prove it. There might be people out there listening to this. I'm probably not going to be the place for that. I'm not going to be the channel for that. You're probably not going to get this anywhere else, but like, I do apologize for my video last week. I am very frustrated, in the situation that like some amount of people out there signed up because I talked about it. They wouldn't have heard about it had I not talked about it. And in the last, I'm not deleting it, but there's a take where I wrote, I'm looking at my notes here. I said at one point that like Rick is not shilling his auctions, his employees, there's no like coordinated effort. And one thing that I said in the E4 thread, one thing that I said on PokeFlips, but like I need to be more cynical. I am fairly cynical, but like for anyone who's deep in the lore, which if you're watching this video 15 minutes in, you're probably like deep in Pokemon, you're deep in PokeTube, maybe you're deep in DramaTube. A couple years ago, Blake's Breaks, former NFL player, very, very rich person, I would presume. Though appearances aren't always what they seem. People make a lot of money and then spend it all and blow it all. Like, I don't know Mr. Blake's financial situation, but one thing that I've done, I found myself doing too often, is like I use my brain. I project my brain onto other people. I'm relatively smart. I'm above median. I'm above average, I would say. How much? What percentile? I'm not gonna put a number there, but I'm relatively intelligent. I think not intelligent to not make a Snype video last week. So to be fair, that puts an upper bound on my intelligence. But I would have, and I have too frequently in the past. I've given people the benefit of the doubt. This person is too rich. This person makes too much money. They have too much to risk. So I run the calculus in my brain of like, I'm not going to lie, cheat, steal. There's so much money to be made in Pokemon doing an honest business and being able to sleep at night. And I project that out on other people. Other people aren't the same, sadly. It is to an extent, it is the human condition. And there are so many studies, there's so much things out there on like people that otherwise have never committed a crime in their life. Given the opportunity creates a lot of criminals, and it's very sad. You see a random few $100s sitting out on the table. You look around, you don't see cameras. Like a lot of people that otherwise have never stolen in their life and wouldn't do it end up stealing in circumstances where they're given the opportunity to. It's really sad. Again, not a fun video, but like I have probably made improper assessments in the past. And if you would ask me 6 months before the whole Blake's Breaks energy rigging scandal, I probably would have said like, he's not doing that. That's crazy. The risk reward. He's making so much money right now. We're booming. Like he's probably not doing that. And I would have been wrong. And I said Rick is probably. I still don't definitively know. I don't have 100% proof that his explanation, that his excuse doesn't hold water. But I do have a brain, and it's sad. It's sad. It's gross. It's sad. I took a shower shortly after that phone call because it was the morning and I was going to take a shower anyways, but I almost feel like I need to take another shower after this whole thing. Maybe 6 months, 2 years, 3 years from now, maybe we have a follow-up, maybe FBI, whatever, I don't know. But the most likely outcome, in my opinion at this point, is that I think the most likely outcome is that the dollar wins. The dollar wins and eBay has him back on. I think he crosses $1 billion in sales. He had sold $930 million in sales on eBay over the past 20 years. There's arguments to be made with these implications, with these accusations out there. I will be kind of proud if eBay says no. If I get all my stuff back in the mail, I don't want to get all my stuff back in the mail. If he will sell my stuff on eBay, I said this on PokeFlips, if he will sell my stuff on eBay, it will sell on eBay. I don't want to take it back. I don't even know what is there. Somewhere I could find what is there, but like, oh yeah, my last week's Snype video, I scrolled down and I showed everything that was there. That's right. But I think the most likely outcome is that, and I don't know how long he sells. Maybe this is still retirement. Maybe he's still done. That's if I could get him back on the phone, I would have said like, hey, so if and when these things sell, like not for me, not on my like. I am not sending new items to Probstein anytime soon, as I said in PokeFlips. But like, out of curiosity, I don't know if he does go back to eBay at 4 p.m. today when he announces. If he goes back to eBay, is that like a multi-year thing? Or are we just gonna like Men in Black? We all get flashed by the thing, we all forget it, and like, oh, Snype never existed. It was that 2 month, 3 month window that Probstein stopped sales. Like, yeah, that never happened. Forget about it. Or is it just like a one and done? Sell everything he has, take in nothing new? I it's stupid of me to not have asked that question. So again, putting an upper bound on my intelligence level. Very obvious question that I should have asked, but I did not ask. But in any case, I will be following along that E4 thread. I will be following along a year, 2 years, 3 years from now to see if anything happens. But I think that's, let me double check my notes. I think that's most things I wanted to cover. It's yeah, it's not fun, it's not good, but it is what it is. As I say on this channel all the time, it's like I'm just telling you what the business is doing and why. And unfortunately, the business engaged with Probstein on eBay and transitioned to off eBay, and that went horribly. And yeah, one of my prompts, one of my notes here, the whole, I'm not gonna go back and edit this. I don't have enough time to upload it, but the Jurassic Park, see, nobody cares. Like, the most likely outcome is that 6 months, a year from now, everyone's forgotten. Think back all the scandals this year. 2025. We started 2025 with the CGC, Alpha, Beta, Omega, Delta, Gamma, Foxtrot, with all the prototypes, with all the supposed prototypes that were printed in 2024. Most people forgot by now. And the way that those things work, the way that, people aren't allowed to talk about them. People sign things that make them not allowed to talk about things. It's like, it's all so gross. I will try to be more upbeat in next week's video. I will try to have better things to talk about. But yeah, this kind of stuff is not fun. We all got duped, agreed. If I was editing, play in your mind the Logan Paul G.I. Joe case. Play in your mind the BBCE, Baseball Card Exchange. I forget what his name is, but the guy that authenticated the fake case. We all got duped, agreed. And then in the comments, rightfully so, some people will say, Dan, you're dumb. I didn't get duped. You got duped. Shillstein, all that stuff for decades. And oh yeah, one thing I did have here. Oh, that's the wrong one. One conversation that happened in the E4 thread, and like, I'll link this video. eBay, Heritage, Gold, and PW, like a lot of these platforms to an extent, like they are problematic because they could do more very easily. One thing eBay could do is eBay could like say if an item was paid or not paid. Just because it's paid doesn't mean it's real. But like, shout out to Fanatics. They're not perfect. They are born out of the company they bought, who was not perfect. Formerly PWCC. But like, one thing Fanatics does, I don't know if you'll be able to read that on whatever device you're on, but I searched, we remove a bid from your weekly Sunday auction. And this is like over the past several months, but this is more than 100 bids being removed from Fanatics auctions. I don't have, so if you can sign with me on Fanatics, the way that Fanatics works, it's not like eBay works. I don't see buyer data. I do not have the ability to vet whether or not someone won it on their own account or whatever it may be. I don't have that visibility. Shout out to James. James made a video a long time ago of, he had somebody who consigned with him, and they were bidding through their same named account. It would be like Catch 'em All Collectibles consigning to James's eBay and then bidding on that account of the same name. So James had that happen in the past. Big props to him. He canceled everything. He canceled the consignment. He returned all the cards. I would do that if I had the insight, but just to be completely clear, open, and honest, I'm glad I don't have the insight. I'm glad I don't have, because I don't have the time. And the sad thing is too, done intelligently by someone who knows what they're doing, it would not be able to be caught. eBay makes it so easy to just create another account. If someone or a small group of people wanted to bid and manipulate, and that's why market price is not a thing in Pokemon. You need to be very careful with comp culture. Comp culture is very dangerous because shady actors, bad actors will and do insert bad numbers out there. I'm going to be live later this week, probably on Wednesday night, going into Thanksgiving. And come hang out. There's probably going to be a lot of ranting and rambling about this. There's probably going to be a lot of follow-ups. If you have any questions, find me there and ask away. I will answer them all. But yeah, I think we're getting to like the final end here. Yeah, bid concentration account. We were testing the accounts. We were testing the website. Due to the issues, we were running tests. Those auctions were never going to be completed. They had to be reran anyways. That is like the explanation for all the and maybe it's enough. Maybe it's true. We think it's true. Maybe it's true, but like maybe it's enough. Maybe it's enough to avoid larger things, but it is not satisfactory to me. And I do have one more thing. So the Midas Touch. The Midas Touch is it's this old I don't know if it's biblical. I don't know if it's like I don't know what the origin of it is, but this Midas guy, everything he touched turns to gold. Midas backwards is Sidam. I don't know how you would say it properly, but I have the Sidam Touch. I made a little meme. This might have been my thumbnail, but maybe I made something different. But I years ago I used to talk about Troll and Toad Evo on YouTube. Dead. PWCC, dead. MetaZoo 1.0, dead. eBay Vault, dead. I'm knocking on Rick Probstein's door. This was me last Monday. This was me last Monday making a video about Snype, knocking on Rick Probstein's Snype beta's door, and it did not survive. So if I make a video about you or your platform or whatever on my channel, it's dark times ahead. Dark times ahead. But yeah, with that, I have very exciting videos. Next Monday will probably be the New Jersey Collecticon recap. My voice is like not 100% because I just got back from that. Great time, great people. Really excited to talk about that. So many things going on in the background. So much business being done. Stay tuned to Fanatics. Stay tuned to eBay Live. There's a lot of big exciting things coming that I will be happy to talk about in the future. This video was not fun, but it had to be done. It had to be done. So yeah, with all that, give me a chart down. Give me a if we're in Discord, it would be KA down. Give me a chart down emoji because this is this was not fun. But it had to be done. Snype is no more. Probstein might be a thing on eBay moving forward. I will be engaging with DC Sports. I will be engaging with Sealed Shiz Consignments. I will be engaging with other consignment selling platforms. But yeah, with that, I appreciate everyone watching. I will catch you all later.